We saw Hugh Dowding and Arthur Harris at the end of Walk 1. If we now walk round to the east end of the traffic island on which St Clement Danes stands, we will find Samuel Johnson of dictionary fame. With his dictionary in hand, he faces Fleet Street, which was his world for so many years. And just across the road from us here are the Royal Courts of Justice. Cases heard here are what are known as civil cases. Criminal cases would be heard at the Central Criminal Court, better known as the Old Bailey. This complex of buildings, covering about 8 acres, was built between 1874 and 1880. It has been described as the last fling of the Gothic revival, which brought us the Houses of Parliament, St Pancras Station, and much else. Up above we can find 3 large statues. This, the central one, is Jesus Christ, the Supreme Lawgiver. To our left we have King Solomon, and to the right, King Alfred. Before we leave our island, let's just have a close look at this street lamp and these traffic bollards, which were specially designed to fit in with the Gothic law courts. So that was the Royal Courts of Justice. So let's now head off this way up Aldwych, passing on our left Australia House and Bush House. We're now going to walk through this area here, which is occupied by the London School of Economics, the LSE. So we've come up Aldwych from St Clement Danes and we've looked out for the first turn on the right, Houghton Street. The main entrance to the LSE, full name London School of Economics and Political Science, and part of London University, is surmounted by a shield including a depiction of a beaver, now adopted by the students as their mascot. At the end of Houghton Street we turn left into Clare Market, but there's no market anymore. From the street still named Clare Market, turn right into Portugal Street and then left into Portsmouth Street. This whole area of about 28 acres, centred on Clare Market, was one of central London's worst slums, notorious for its gin houses, thieves' kitchens, and brothels, whatever they are. Here you will find the old curiosity shop. You will perhaps have heard of this because of Charles Dickens's story of that name, in which this is the home of little Nell and her grandfather. Now we've got Lincoln's Inn Fields in our sights. Lincoln's Inn, which we will see later, is one of the 4 Inns of Court in London. The fields adjoining Lincoln's Inn began to be built on in 1618, and Inigo Jones was commissioned to lay out the central portion as a garden. Besides the grassed areas, there are tennis courts, a bandstand and a public execution site. Looking now at some of the buildings surrounding the square, the oldest remaining one from 1640 is at number 59 on the west side. At the top of this side is Newcastle House by Sir Edwin Lutyens, who remodelled an earlier building by Sir John Vanbrugh. Looking along the north side, we'll pick out the Soane Museum. I can't describe what it's like inside, but you must have a look in, and it's free as well. A little further along, I noticed that this building was used by the Royal Canadian Air Force during World War II. From the south side of the square we can see the gates to Lincoln's Inn itself, and some of the occupants on this side include Cancer Research UK and here the Royal College of Surgeons. These, I believe, are the offices of the Land Registry, but now let's have a look at Lincoln's Inn. Lincoln's Inn occupies the east side of the square and originated when Henry de Lacy, Earl of Lincoln, used his home to accommodate legal practitioners and their students. This must have been around the 1380s. Incidentally, you can stroll around the precincts here, but by privilege and not by right. A notice warns you not to make a noise. The only building open to the public is the chapel, and this closes at 2:30, as I discovered. I did see the unusual above-ground crypt, or undercroft. Charles Dickens knew this area and lived nearby for a time, as we shall see shortly. He would have known that large slum area we mentioned earlier. Mr. Tulkinghorn, the solicitor in Bleak House, lived in not the slum, but in a big house in the new square. We'll leave Lincoln's Inn now and turn left down Searle Street. We can see the back door of the Royal Courts of Justice. Look out here for another statue to match the three we saw on the front. This one is of Moses with the 10 Commandments. Now turn left and you're in Carey Street. The bankruptcy court used to be in this street. As you turn this corner, look out for the statue on the first floor level of Sir Thomas More. These premises were the first Lions Corner House in London. A little further down the street, on the left, at ground level, you may be interested to see these old marker stones. They mark the boundary of St Clement Danes parish, marked with an anchor, and the parish of St Dunstan in the west, marked SDW. Now turn right into the street called Bell Yard. Samuel Johnson describes his first experience of gambling in a house down here. Charles Dickens lived for a time at number 5 and used the yard for a scene in Bleak House. So now back into the Strand and turn right for St Clement Danes.